Have you ever been in a relationship where, out of nowhere, a simple sentence made you question everything? Maybe it was a phrase you'd heard before. Maybe you brushed it off, telling yourself you were overthinking. But something about those words stayed with you. Sometimes, the most dangerous things we let into our lives arrive not as a scream, but as a whisper. In today's episode, I want to walk with you through the maze of subtle manipulation, self-doubt, and invisible red flags. We're going to talk about 5 phrases, 5 sentences that may seem harmless, but actually have the power to drain your spirit, damage your confidence, and leave you feeling lost. These are phrases that, if you hear them from a man, I want you to pause. I want you to remember that your peace, your self-worth, and your future are worth protecting. Carl Jung, the legendary Swiss psychologist, taught us about the shadow side of human nature, the parts of ourselves we try to hide, the patterns we repeat, and the games our unconscious plays. Today, I'm taking you on a journey to recognize those games before they play you. By the end of this video, you'll not only know the warning signs, but you'll also be equipped with the mindset and strategies to walk away when you must, with your head held high. So take a deep breath. This is about you, your power, and the love you truly deserve. Let's start with a truth we often overlook. Words are more than just sounds. They're instructions to our minds. They tell us what to pay attention to, what to believe about ourselves, and what to expect from others. From childhood, we're taught that sticks and stones may break our bones, but words will never hurt us. But the truth is, words can shape our lives in ways nothing else can. A loving word can lift us for days. A cruel word can echo for years. Carl Jung said that what we do not make conscious controls us. That's why the phrases we accept, without question, can slowly reshape who we become, often without us realizing it. In every relationship, language reveals the reality beneath the surface. The words someone chooses can show you their wounds, their worldview, and sometimes, their unwillingness to grow. So, as we walk through these 5 phrases, I invite you to listen with your heart and your mind. Have you heard these words before? How did they make you feel? Did you listen to your intuition, or did you silence your own warning bells? Your answers matter, because the first step to empowerment is awareness. Let's break down the first phrase. You have to accept me as I am. At first, it sounds innocent, almost noble. We all want to be accepted for who we are, right? But when a man uses this phrase to dismiss your concerns, justify bad behavior, or avoid responsibility, you're not seeing authenticity. You're seeing resistance to growth. Let's imagine a scenario. You notice your partner withdrawing, ignoring your calls, or speaking to you with less kindness. You bring it up, gently, hoping for a real conversation. But instead of listening, he says, "That's just who I am. If you love me, you'll accept me as I am." On the surface, it's a call for love. Underneath, it's a demand for unconditional tolerance, no matter how you feel. Here's why this is dangerous. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." A man who refuses to look at his own flaws, who uses "accept me" as a shield, remains stuck in his shadow. He expects you to do all the emotional work. You compromise. You adjust. He stays the same. You start to doubt yourself. You wonder if you're being too much. You begin to accept less and less, while he takes more and more. Real acceptance is important in a relationship, but not at the cost of your self-respect. You are allowed to expect growth, effort, and accountability from your partner. True authenticity isn't about refusing to change. It's about having the courage to look in the mirror, admit when you're wrong, and try to do better. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, wrote, "The perfection of character is to live each day as if it were your last, without laziness, without pretense." A healthy relationship is a place where both people can grow, not where one person stays stuck and the other carries all the weight. If you hear, "Accept me as I am," after sharing your pain, remember, loving someone doesn't mean accepting behaviors that hurt you. It means holding each other accountable and growing together. Excuses are the quiet poison of any relationship. Let's be honest, everyone has wounds. Everyone has a past. But if every conversation about change ends with, "This is just how I am because of my childhood. I can't help it because I've been hurt before," the relationship stops moving forward. Over time, you become the caretaker, the emotional fixer. You give second, third, fourth chances, hoping love can heal what only self-awareness can fix. You start apologizing for your own needs. You wonder, am I too demanding? Should I just lower my expectations? Carl Jung warned, what you resist persists. If someone keeps making excuses for their behavior, they aren't just refusing to grow, they're making sure you're the one who suffers for it. Excuses create cycles. You repeat the same arguments. You listen to the same promises, "I'll change, I swear," that are quickly broken. This isn't love. It's emotional stagnation. You deserve a partner, not a project. Support is important, but you can't heal someone who refuses to take even the first step. So, next time you hear an excuse instead of an apology, pause. Remind yourself, you are not too much. Your needs are not a burden. You don't have to shrink to fit someone else's comfort zone. This is a phrase that should instantly raise an alarm. All my exes were crazy. Every woman before you was toxic. Let's look at why this is such a powerful red flag. At first, it feels like you're the exception. He's telling you that you're special, not like all those others. But the real message is much darker. If a man can't speak about his past relationships with any self-reflection, he hasn't learned from them. If everyone else is always to blame, he is either extremely unlucky or, more likely, unwilling to see his own patterns. Carl Jung called this projection. When we can't face our own flaws, we project them onto others. The world is full of bad people, but we never see our own part in the story. Ask yourself, has he ever talked about his mistakes? Does he reflect on what he could have done better, or is every woman in his past painted as the villain? If he always blames others, what do you think will happen when things get hard with you? Will you become the next crazy ex in his story? You are not his therapist. You are not responsible for proving that not all women are the same. Healthy love comes from two people who own their stories, not just their victories. Let's go deeper into this trap. It's tempting to try and be the woman who finally saves him. He tells you that you're different, and you want to believe it. You want to be the exception. But soon you start walking on eggshells. You avoid saying no, because you're afraid of being labeled like his exes. You forgive things you never would have tolerated before. You work harder. You give more, love more, forgive more. But it never seems to be enough. Meanwhile, he remains the victim in his story, and you become the rescuer, drained, anxious, and always responsible for his happiness. The sad truth? No one can heal another person's wounds. You can offer support, but you cannot be his solution. If you take on the role of savior, you end up losing yourself. Healthy love is about partnership. Both people take responsibility, both people grow. If you are the only one doing the emotional work, ask yourself, is this love, or is it emotional labor disguised as love? Let's talk about boundaries. Boundaries are not about rejection. They are about protection of your energy, your peace, and your self-respect. Imagine your life as a house. The people you let in should be those who respect your rules, your space, and your values. If someone keeps blaming others, refusing to reflect, or making you feel like their therapist, you have every right to close the door. A healthy relationship welcomes boundaries. An unhealthy one tests them at every turn. When a man says, "All my exes were crazy," you have to accept me as I am. Your boundary is your best protection. You can listen. You can care. But you are not obligated to stay if your needs are ignored, your boundaries disrespected, or your peace disturbed. Practice saying, "I respect your journey, but I also respect my own needs." You are allowed to walk away. In fact, sometimes, it's the kindest thing you can do for both of you. Now, let's talk about manipulation disguised as love. If you really loved me, you'd do what I ask. At first, it might sound like a genuine request. But over time, this phrase becomes a tool for control. Let's look at how this dynamic develops. He asks you to give up plans with friends. He wants you to stop talking to certain people. He expects you to prioritize him over your own life. Each time you hesitate, he turns the conversation into a test. If you loved me, you'd do this for me. Suddenly, love is measured by how much you sacrifice, not by how much you grow together. Carl Jung warned that relationships built on power and submission are never healthy. True love is built on freedom, on the choice to say yes or no without fear of punishment. If someone uses your feelings as leverage, they are not seeking love. They are seeking control. Love that demands obedience is not love. It is manipulation. You deserve better. The cost of this dynamic is high. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you lose a part of yourself. At first, you might tell yourself, "I'm just being supportive." But over time, you notice you're not seeing your friends. You've let go of your hobbies, your passions, your goals. You look in the mirror and barely recognize yourself. Healthy love encourages you to grow. Unhealthy love asks you to shrink. If you find yourself changing everything about your life for someone else, ask, is this really love or is this fear? You are allowed to have boundaries. You are allowed to say no. You do not have to earn love by sacrificing yourself. You are already enough. So how do you respond when someone says, "If you loved me, you'd do what I ask"? First, pause. Take a deep breath. Remember, guilt is not proof of love. Try saying, "I care about you, but I need to make choices that are right for me." You don't need to justify every decision. You don't need to pass anyone's test. True love respects your no as much as your yes. If someone cannot accept your boundaries, it's a sign to reconsider the relationship. You deserve love that is free, honest, and supportive, not love that comes with conditions and ultimatums. This phrase can cut deeper than almost any other. "You're not enough for me." It's a direct attack on your self-esteem, your value, and your identity. But let's get one thing clear. When a man says this, it's not really about you. It's about his own emptiness, his own fears, and his own unresolved wounds. Carl Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." Often, people who say, "You're not enough," are projecting their own insecurities onto you. The real danger is that you start to believe it. You try harder. You give more. You apologize for things you shouldn't. But it never feels like enough. No matter what you do, the target keeps moving. Remember, your value does not depend on someone else's opinion. You are worthy simply because you exist. You do not have to prove yourself to anyone. This cycle can be exhausting. You start changing everything about yourself, hoping to finally be enough. You lose your spark, your confidence, your voice. The truth is, no amount of external validation will ever satisfy someone who is deeply insecure. Jung said, "You cannot make someone see your light if they are only searching for their shadows." Stop chasing approval from those who refuse to see your worth. Be enough for yourself. The right person will see you, love you, and celebrate you, just as you are. Now we come to the fifth phrase, one of the most subtle and confusing. Do whatever you want. On the surface, it sounds like freedom, but said with sarcasm or coldness, it's actually a form of emotional manipulation. He's not really giving you permission. He's setting a trap, hoping you'll feel guilty or uncertain. You start doubting yourself. You wonder if you've done something wrong. You try to read between the lines, to anticipate his anger. Carl Jung spoke about the shadow, the hidden motives and games people play. Passive-aggressive language like this is a sign of emotional immaturity. You are not responsible for decoding someone else's emotions. Healthy love is built on direct, honest communication. If a man says, "Do whatever you want," respond simply and confidently. Make your own choices and don't apologize for living your life. How do you break free from emotional manipulation? First, notice the pattern. Are you always walking on eggshells, afraid to make your own choices? Do you feel guilty for setting boundaries? Second, name the behavior. You can say, "If something's bothering you, please tell me directly." Third, set your boundary. You have a right to peace, clarity, and respect. Fourth, validate yourself. Remind yourself that your choices are valid. You do not need permission to take care of yourself. The moment you stop playing the game, you reclaim your power. A mature partner communicates. An immature one manipulates. Choose wisely. Walking away is never easy. You might feel scared, lonely, or uncertain. But ask yourself, is it lonelier to be by yourself or to feel invisible in a relationship? Carl Jung and the Stoics remind us, true freedom comes from living in alignment with your values, not from pleasing someone else. You deserve love that lifts you up, not love that weighs you down. You deserve peace, not anxiety. You deserve growth, not stagnation. Leaving isn't giving up. It's choosing yourself. Saying, my future is worth more than my fear. Let's recap what we've learned. Words matter. The phrases you accept set the standard for how you are treated. The 5 phrases we talked about today are not just red flags. They are warnings, signs that you deserve better. You have to accept me as I am. All my exes were crazy. If you really loved me, you'd do what I ask. You're not enough for me. Do whatever you want. If you hear these words, don't ignore your intuition. Your peace, your future, and your self-worth are priceless. You are not responsible for fixing anyone else's wounds. You are allowed to have boundaries. You are allowed to walk away. You deserve a love that is honest, supportive, and empowering. If any of this resonates with you, know that you are not alone. Many have walked this path and found their way back to themselves. If you're ready, share your thoughts in the comments. Have you experienced these phrases? How did you respond? Your story could help someone else. If this message helped you, please subscribe, share it with someone who needs it, and join this community of self-respect and healing. You are strong. You are wise. You are enough. Never settle for less than you deserve. Thank you for listening, and remember, your peace is priceless.